Very good day to everyone, and welcome to what promises to be a very engaging and insightful webinar on future-ready brands, educating and engaging India's new age customer. I'm Divyang, the Regional Sales Manager at Insightner, and I'm delighted to be your host for today's session. At Insightner, we collaborate with leading companies to enhance customer value journeys through strategic campaigns that drive growth and meaningful engagement. Today's session features real-world insights into the customer value journeys shared by a very seasoned marketing professional. We're also excited to have participants from top marketing schools and startups that bring a very dynamic and a very good mix of perspectives, a fresh perspective into the discussion. So without further ado, I'll introduce our speaker, Mr. Adeeb Abdur Rahman. He's a global growth and event marketing specialist at Unifor with expertise in experiential and field marketing. Adeeb has successfully driven brand growth and audience engagement worldwide. He's also a visiting faculty in Jan University. Adeeb.
Hello. Hi, Divyang. Thanks for that wonderful introduction. And I'm excited to be here. I mean, of course, I love talking to students. I go around universities as a visiting faculty, and that's always a great time for me, right? Because I'm not just sharing knowledge, I'm also kind of gaining something from them. So it's always been amazing to talk to students.
Really get fresh perspectives from the current world. It's very engaging as well.
Wonderful.
So we have a few questions, and we'll start with the Q&A first.
Yeah.
We'll follow it up with a few questions from the audience as well.
Okay.
So my first question for you, Adeeb, is what unique strategies are you using to educate India's digitally savvy but diverse consumer base about your brand's value and products?
Okay. So it's all about meeting people where they are, right? I mean, you got to keep it simple, right? It's like I mean, nowadays no one has a time of 10-minute plus pitch anymore. Everyone wants it on point. You got to hook them. You have just few seconds to hook them up. Like for example, let's say when you watch a YouTube video, correct, the first 15 seconds, or rather I would say the first 10 seconds, is something that's something very crucial to understand, or rather to hook people onto your video, right? So and for example, also consider it as making a Netflix series, something which is very engaging, bite-sized, and leaving people wanting more, right? What do these series do? They always end up with something leaving them curious to kind of understand what's happening next, right? So always keep it very to the point. Yeah, I think that's there, and always focus on, because what I've done is in at present where I'm working at Unifor, whether I deal with AI, whether I've done crazy shows back in the days during my time at Viscraft, or even when I'm talking to students at universities, I always focus on storytelling, right? You got to make sure that your storytelling is so great that people are actually hooking on to you and kind of buy your idea or buy your product, correct? So that's something that I believe. Also, let's say for example, let me ask you a question, Divyank, or rather, and anyone out here. When I say Santa Claus, right, what's the color that comes to your mind?
Red. Red and white.
Red and white. Yeah, do we have any answers here? I'm not sure if I can see any of them, but red. Okay. Red and white. Sure. Divyank?
Yeah, that's what comes to mind if I first think of Santa Claus, because obviously because of the red dress and the white
Wonderful.
thing
Of
on
course.
top.
Bang on. You're right. So actually, this is an amazing fact, right? So Santa Claus was actually green, not red and white. Santa Claus, because Santa Claus is an elf, and the character was created to kind of relate to an elf and things like that. But what has happened? Probably a person has kind of modified Santa Claus into a red and white, right? And what Coca-Cola did, I mean, there is a myth that because of Coca-Cola, the Santa Claus is now red and white, right? That's a myth. That's not a fact. But Coca-Cola used it to their advantage, correct? So they designed their own version of Santa Claus, of a red and white and a very jolly kind of a person. and they started promoting themselves, using a Santa Claus character. And now whenever we see a Santa Claus, we remember red and white. Coca-Cola is red and white,
Yeah.
correct? So the Santa Claus was also made as red and white, and Coca-Cola, kind of used that to their advantage and started telling story about, what Coca-Cola is and things like that, what Santa Claus is about. So this is how they actually hooked on people, and now people remember Santa Claus as a red and white. They see Santa Claus as a red and white, and Coca-Cola has a major role to play on this, right? It's not that I'm kind of giving a shout out to Coca-Cola or something. I rather not, but I'm loving the fact that, or rather I love or appreciate the marketing mind that has gone to it. So that's there, right? So basically what I'm trying to tell is the power of storytelling. It sticks with you, right? And of course it transforms perceptions. That's there. And yeah, that's where it is.
And especially in this ever-growing and India's growing digital penetration right now, we've
Mhm.
seen a lot of brands using personalized content and especially interactive formats like quizzes or like
Yeah.
small video games that they launched. Like, for example, Zepto had their AR scanning thing as well. So people just can scan it from their phone and they can see it. I think that was pretty
Got it.
interesting as well.
Wonderful. Yeah, because see, AR is a very wonderful technology, because that's something. I mean, let's say there is something that you're not physically there present, but AR helps you be there. That's an immersive experience. People are just utilizing all the technologies which is possible to kind of give that experience to consumers.
I couldn't agree more. So one more follow-up question I do have is,
Hmm.
how are you leveraging emerging platforms and technologies such as obviously AI and just what we
Hmm.
spoke about AR and
Hmm.
influencer partnerships to make consumer education more impactful for your brand?
Wonderful. You said AI, AR, and influencer,
Influencer
correct?
part, right?
Okay. So let's see. I mean, these are all emerging catalysts or emerging tech, right? And let's consider this like a Swiss army. What's a Swiss army? You have things in your pocket, and you kind of use each tool for your benefit for something else, right? So it's all about using the right tool at the right time. Like for example, AI gives you more personalized experience. Like for example, let me give you an instance where there is this product called emotional AI that Unifor works on, and it's an amazing thing that an emotional AI does. Like for example, let's say you imagine you're calling a customer care because your flight got cancelled, right? You're already frustrated, and the last thing you want to, you want this to repeat multiple times. A lot of times what happens is things get, the calls get cut, and then you call them again, and then they ask you the same thing, right? So it's like a loop until and unless the problem is solved. But what emotional AI does is it detects your emotion, correct? Like for example, when you're talking, it detects your emotion through voice, your text analysis, your, for example, it picks up on the cues like your tone. Maybe you're typing in all caps. It knows that you are either upset or stressed, correct? So it's detected, and then it's adapting the response according to it, right? The AI doesn't just understand what you're saying, but also knows how you're feeling, right? And then it tells the agent, hey, you know what, this guy is kind of angry, kind of pissed. So it's getting more personalized there. It's not like, random, there is someone over there, anyone who's coming with any emotion, just get done with the problem. No, it gets more personalized. The emotional AI helps understand what you're going through, what kind of emotion that you're going through, and then again, offer solution according to the emotions that you have, correct? So that's where it is when it's about an AI. Augmented reality, correct, it's again something that I already said. It's giving you an immersive experience, right? Because these days, anyone, you cannot give anyone any gyan, right? They want to know, they want to experience things. Because you show something, especially this generation, they're not going to blindly buy things. They want to experience something, right? Either physically present there or through augmented reality, correct? So that's there. And your third one was influencer, right?
Influencer
So
part.
influencer again, influencer is a very important factor to attract your crowd. but I would say it has to be very relevant. You cannot just call any influencer and kind of do an event with them, or if for example, let's say I'm doing events to kind of sell my product, which is AI, right? So what we do is we do this annual event called as an impact series, right? And the very first impact series we called Anil Kumble, right? And why Anil Kumble? Because two reasons, right? One is because of cricket, the audience that we have, and it's a very small scale audience of about 15-20 packs who we know are like kind of the potential prospects. And what we've done is we've called Anil Kumble because everyone loves cricket, and second is because he's invested in AI, right? So somewhere he has a knowledge of AI. So when we are having a conversation with him, we are kind of molding things around AI. Of course, cricket is something that's there, but we are also talking about AI, right? So that's something relevant, right? So these three factors very important. It's like I would say it's like a party venue, right? You just need the right vibe. Like AI personalizes, AR is for like your wow experience, and your influencer is like a DJ, right? You kind of, a DJ helps you pull the crowd. So that's there it is. Yeah.
That's actually a really good example as well for our young crowd to understand.
Yeah.
So one the thing I will add for the AI and AR thing that even you can see right now, IKEA has also launched the AR for their
Mm.
interactive product demos. So if
Mm.
somebody wants to buy something, they can just upload the thing on their phone and they can see how it would look in their house
Wonderful.
before
Yeah.
buying
Yeah.
it.
Because see, when you told about the IKEA example, I love the place, right? I remember. I mean, now IKEA has just come now, but the place where I was born and brought up in Qatar, we used to go to IKEA, right? I love the place because of the vibe, but trust me, the walk of the store. I've not been to an IKEA in India yet, but the walk in the store is massive, right? Like you just get tired, right? So this is a very good initiative that they've done, that they've got the AR technology embedded, where you kind of give a immersive experience where you're in your room, and you want to understand how really the thing looks like in your room. So that's a great initiative.
So the third question I have for you, Adeep, is in a market as culturally diverse as India. Now, all of
Mm.
us know how diverse it is, like with so
Yeah.
many languages.
Yeah.
You tailor your educational content to resonate with the different regional and demographic segments because we all know there's a language barrier someplace or the other. So how do you fit into those?
See, I would say India is like a giant buffet. You've got biryani, you've got butter chicken, you've got dosa, and you can't serve the same dish to everyone, right? Everyone's got their taste. Someone likes spicy, someone doesn't like spicy, someone's got a certain way of serving a sambar, whether it's some people serve sweet, some people serve, so there are, India is a very diverse country, and the trick is customization. You have to understand and respect the local nuances, right? Whether it's, like you said, the languages, I would say festivals, or even humor, right? Some people would not love humor in some regions as compared to few other regions, right? Like for example, I would say down the south, people are a little more reserved, and kind of would probably step a little back when it comes to loud humor. But whereas people up north, they're bindas, correct? And so it's very different. You got to understand, wherever you go, whichever demography, whatever the region that you're in, you have to understand, respect their nuances. Like for example, I would say I used to work in Westcraft, and we used to do a number of regional cultural events, right? And we used to go all out when we used to do something related to Diwali when it's in Delhi, right? So here maybe Diwali is of course a festival which is celebrated pan India, but when we do something in Delhi for Diwali, we go all out, right? And when we do something for Onam in Kerala, we go all out, right? So it depends wherever you are and things like. Of course, even in Unifor, when we customize campaigns, we try to understand regional tones, right? So that they feel personal. Like for example, if I'm kind of giving a brochure, right, the brochure persona, the person on the brochure, if you have like a person on the brochure, maybe I would put a South Indian attire or something on a brochure for when I'm doing events in South India. If I'm doing something in North or East, I kind of change the photos according to it, so that they know that that okay, fine, this is something personalized for my region, right? It's like you tell them, hey, we see you and we get you, that's the kind of thing. And the key is one size fits all doesn't work here, right? Like tailoring the content and then making it more personalized, region specific, is something which is very important, especially in India.
Making it more relevant for them, I think, is the key in this
Yeah,
particular
yeah,
thing.
yeah, you're
Uh,
right.
the thing you said about Diwali, I think that's pretty agreeable on, because I think leveraging festivals and obviously collaborating with local influencers from those places as well, though they help connect the brands, connect with the local audience. Would you
Hmm.
agree with?
Yeah, definitely. Because see, I'll give you another classic example. Like when we do the Impact series, um, I've always wanted to get Sunil Chetri to my event, right? And we've done events. I mean, the first Impact series I think we did in Bangalore, and then onwards we've always done it in Mumbai, because our major target audience was in Mumbai, right? So I was trying to understand, if I invite Sunil Chetri, would it be relevant in Mumbai? Right, of course, Sunil Chetri is loved by everyone across the world, and he's already a legend who's represented India in great way. And but I still was kind of in a dilemma, whether should I invite him for my event. Would he do justice to my event at probably in Mumbai, rather compared to something in Bangalore. So what I've done is I've saved Sunil Chetri for Bangalore, because I know if I do an event in Bangalore, a similar Impact series in Bangalore, and if I call Sunil Chetri, it's going to be super hit. Probably not much in Mumbai. Maybe I call someone, maybe a cricketer who's amazing in Mumbai, who's very popular in Mumbai. And by popular, I mean not someone who know. By popular, I mean someone who can relate to and someone who love. Right. So yeah, that's there.
Someone who the audience can connect with.
Connect with. That's correct. Because here, if you see, people love Sunil Chetri. I'm from Bangalore, and people just love Sunil Chetri. We go to stadiums, we watch the BFC matches, and we always cheer on for Sunil Chetri. And it's crazy for Sunil Chetri here. So I think it makes sense. So that's the idea, I mean, you go to region and you kind of select the kind of favorite influencers according to that. You can't just select randomly any influencer. Like you can't call an Ori for an AI event, or you can't call an Aura for an AI event, right? Unless they've done something in the AI space, doesn't make sense. I mean, they also wouldn't say yes to it. They're like, what am I gonna talk about AI, right? Or any topic that's not relevant to them.
Oh yeah, I think there was some signal issue. Okay, so the fourth question I have for you, Adeeb, is how do you strike balance between educating consumers and driving engagement without overwhelming them?
That's a good question, because
Hello.
um okay, let me give you an instance. Now, I mean, I'll ask people over here. I'd like to kind of interact with students here. Okay, so I was just asking the students here. I mean, to your question, I wanted to understand, when they have lectures in their college, how do you want it? Do you want it very tech or content heavy, or do you want things to be very light? Because some people love content. They'll be like, "What bakwas is happening here?" I didn't pay my fees to kind of keep something light. Or do you want a mix of it? So what's your idea? I want to understand from the students here. Thing fun and kept light, fun, practical approach, content with meaningful and mindful, wonderful. Okay. So what I'm saying is, nobody actually likes a lecture, right? They love when people talk to them, and you call it a lecture, but you also call it a lecture in sometimes in a negative manner. You're like, don't give me lecture, yeah. Some people do that. But lecture is also some, where oh, I have this professor's lecture, I have that professor's lecture. So there are different meanings to it, but I'm talking about the negative one, like don't give me lecture, yeah, types. Okay. So nobody likes that. People don't need a PhD in your brand, right? When you're selling something, or when you're talking about a brand of your brand, they don't want PhD about it, or rather complete details, or depth details about it, right? They only want to understand how that product or that brand fits in their life. Simple, right? What it does, especially in this era, like we are right now living in the Gen Z era, and Gen Zs, they don't have time for fluff, right? They cannot, like, they're very straightforward. They want to understand, okay, fine, hey, this fits for me, cool, I'm up for it, right? They don't want to listen to all those technicals and things like that. And also think of it like teaching. You can either bore people, or sleep them, or make them curious. I don't know how many of them are sleeping already, but I'm sure a lot of them are curious, or having fun. But that's what it is. Like, even when we do events with uniform, we kind of keep it interactive, right? Like, we don't give them a deep gyan of what uniform is, and blah blah blah, and all of these tech is involved and things like that. No. When people come to our booth, let's say I put up a booth, and when people come to our booth, they are kind of curious to understand. They first see a collateral, like maybe a pull-up banner, and they understand, okay, fine, what is uniform doing? I don't put all the tech stuff on the pull-up banner. I kind of put only relevant things which will attract them. Hey, do you want to make your life easier, or probably how to automate things and kind of better your customer experience? These are kind of taglines which will attract them. And when they come to the booth, again, we're not talking in-depth things to them. We probably do, like, let's say, to keep it engaging, we kind of put a tent card, they scan a QR code, there is a quiz, right? Again, the quiz doesn't talk about, like, hey, what is emotional AI, 1 2 3 4. No, it'll talk about maybe how AI can help you. Maybe it makes your life easy, maybe it kinds of automate things. So if we kind of keep it very simple, so that they get into the idea of AI or any product, right? And once they are hooked onto it, they themselves kind of come to you and they say that, hey, I want to know more about it, right? Don't overwhelm them with all these things. Like, for example, if they're yawning, you've lost them. Trust me, when you see someone yawn, either it's because they've not slept well, or because you're just boring them to death, right? So when they're yawning, you've lost them. Keep it short, engaging, and of course, like they should come to you and tell, hey, you know what, tell me more about it, right? So less is always more when it comes to content.
Yeah, just like you said, I think it's really key to keep it simple.
Yeah.
Especially like we see brands do like bite-sized videos and infographics. Like, I think clear messaging works the best. They don't want any extra information. They don't
No,
have time for that,
no,
basically.
they don't have time. They don't have time for nonsense, especially this generation. No chance.
So, for nonsense in a professional environment, but nonsense in a normal way,
Oh,
absolutely.
yes, that's maybe another topic to talk
It's an
about.
entire topic, right? Okay.
Okay.
So one question that I have for you for our young marketers is, what are some mistakes that you made that you would suggest that these young marketers don't make in their future plans going forward?
Oh, a lot of them. A lot of them. I would tell, I mean, because we're talking about mistakes, earlier I used to be very scared to make mistakes, right? Any decision that I want to make, I would think, if I make that decision, I probably might end up doing mistakes and people will think bad of me, right? That was one very big fear that I had. But thankfully, I learned that, making mistakes is the real way to kind of improving yourself, right? Because unless and until you don't make mistakes and things like that. And I've got mentors in my life, where people have told me, like, when I'm about to do something, they tell me, hey, you know what, this is something that we've done in the past, probably this may not work, right? So maybe we're smart enough to kind of avoid that, right? So to your question, I've done a lot of mistakes. I think the first one, I'd say, I try to do everything at once, right? Like, I've it's micromanage and kind of make sure everything is all at once. If you open my laptop, if you open my browser, there are like million tabs over there, right? I used to think the more content was better, but it's actually not, right? It's about how impactful your whatever, your talk or your event or your your ad or anything is, that's something which is more important, right? Not the volume. So focus on truly how you truly add value and not on getting everything done all at once, right? That's one. And I think second one, I would say ignoring feedback, right? I don't know, maybe I'd call it an ego issue or maybe trust issues or what, I don't know. But I used to avoid a lot of feedbacks from people, like whether it's audience, whether it's family, whether it's your team, your clients, or anything. I used to avoid. Then I realized, okay, fine, this is something which is wrong. Feedback is something which is good for you. It's like your cheat code, right? It helps you improve faster because you're getting a feedback, and that person, when you're that person is your audience. Whoever is giving you a feedback, they are an audience and they felt a certain way. They give you a feedback, and then you obviously have to better it, to kind of ensure that it's always good the next time. And then I think if chasing trends just for the sake of it is bad, right? Just because, oh, something is trending, let's go for it. Bell bottom is trending, go for it, right? No. Why do you want to go for it when it's trending? Like, if you like it, go for it. If you don't like it, don't go for it, right? So even tools and platforms, they come and go, right? But what your message is, what matters. It doesn't depend where you're publishing your message, right? Like, for example, um I would say, let's say social medias where Facebook, Instagram, X, and all of these platforms, they're all used for different purposes, right? These days, I think a lot of Gen Zs, they're not using Facebook, I believe. I mean, back in the days, Facebook was the thing. I would say the platform has changed. Now there is more Instagram. So you don't focus on the platform which is changed. You focus on the message, right? Facebook se Instagram mein jao, use the same message, right? So and see how this message is kind of going to cater to people. So that's something that you have to do. I started chasing, like, okay, fine, things have changed to Instagram. Oh, what if, the kind of perspective is changing? No, perspective will be same. The platform is changed, right? You stick to your message, right? All that. And then I think one more very important, I would say, don't always focus on the goals, right? I mean, this could sound very surprising to you. Like, what is he saying? It's all about goals, right? It's not all about goals. Goals is something that you definitely have to set, but don't give your all out to the goal, right? Don't focus everything on the goal. Instead, focus on the process, like how you want to reach that goal, right? Like, there is one amazing book that I'm reading called Atomic Habits. Over there, the author says, like you've set the goal, okay, very good, but don't just completely focus on, because goal is something which is there, right? Goal helps you win the game, but system helps you keep playing it, right? So focus on that, and automatically, the goal is yours to have. So that's there. And yeah, I think one more thing I would say is, don't try to be everything to everyone, right? You can't be good to everyone, you can't be everything to everyone. You're not like a pizza, that everyone will love you. So I think there are some learnings, some mistakes that I've done in the past, and when I've corrected those, things have gone great.
Yeah, the key takeaways from the mistakes that you made are that our young marketers that can take away is, first of all, it's quality, not quantity, right?
Definitely.
Keeping it persistent, being consistent with what you post and your messaging, like you said.
Correct.
Um, then being open to criticism and feedback, not
Of
taking it the
course.
wrong way, but actually implying it in your actual goals and the processes that you are taking, right?
Definitely, yeah. Also, when you talk about quality over quantity, see, I'll tell you, things differ, right, in quality and quantity. Sometimes quantity works a lot, right? You call it mass and class.
Right.
Correct. Like let's say, how would I say, maybe a movie. When maybe you're releasing a movie, there are mass movies where it's probably nonsense, but it's catering to mass and people love it, right?
Right.
Some their things will work out. Let's say if you're doing an Amir Khan movie, which is a very class and trying to understand the logic and thing, there are audience who love that kind of also. So maybe there, your quality over quantity will work, but not on all places, right? You don't have to ensure that you do everything, right?
Right.
So that's there. Yeah.
So I think we have a few questions from our participants. So I'll just start with that. So we have a question from Divyanshu. He's asking, what do you suggest, sales or marketing? Which one is more successful growth? Which one has more successful growth? I think is what he meant.
See, I would say both is successful, right? See, I'll tell you the difference between sales and marketing. Okay, marketing is something which will make your product look good, right? You as a marketer should ensure that you kind of attract people, attract them to kind of to get them to your vicinity and try to tell them that my product is better than that product. That's marketing. Sales, and you're getting all of them to sales. You're getting them and giving it to sales, and sales is going and doing their work and kind of making their deals and things like that, right? So that's your basic difference between marketing and sales. Sales, when there is a sales done, usually it happens that a salesperson gets a cut out of it, right? There is a commission, it's commission based thing. So and see, there are different ways of looking at it. If you tell me, if you're talking about money, maybe if I have to be very honest, maybe the salary is kind of less compared to a marketer, but the kind of money that they make after doing a sale, that's good, right? Because they're hustling, they know that they're gonna get a cut out of it. They're gonna hustle and they're gonna make that sale, correct?
Right.
So it's everyone's got their own benefits. I would say, why not focus on best of both worlds? Why not do both, right? Sales and marketing. There are people who are experts in sales and marketing. They are like the heads of sales and marketing, chief of sales and marketing. So kind of like that. So it depends purely on what you guys want. But both are great at where they are.
So yeah, I think somebody wrote in reply to when you were saying that people yawn and stuff. Somebody wrote webinar is interesting, not sleeping at all. So I think we have focused marketers listening to you right now.
Wonderful. And it's good, like I love. I think just today we were listening to this gentleman, an amazing person called Professor Junjunwala.
Right.
Right. I don't know if you guys have heard. So Professor Junjunwala is like a mastermind. He's been a mentor to all the major companies that have come up, especially Unifor that where I'm working. And he's at IIT Madras, right? So he's always told me that it's always great to talk to young minds, right? So that's something even I love. Like I always love to listen to these people. Sometimes even when I go teaching, I keep okay, fine. I mean, how much gyan do you want to give? I teach a certain topic, and then I try to understand. I try to talk to them more. I try to understand what's happening, in the current scenario, what's happening in Gen Z. I'm so thankful that my students are Gen Z because I can be relevant in this Gen Z era, right? I'm not a Gen Z, but I can be relevant in the Gen Z era because they will tell me, sir, this is what happened. This is what happens in our era. This is what people like. This is what people don't like. So yeah, I love talking to people.
It's better to get a very fresh perspective from young marketers because they
Yeah,
always have something new on their mind.
yeah.
So we have a few, two or three, four more questions from the
Mhm.
audience. Really enjoying this webinar. I think that's why they're actively asking you questions. So we have a very age-old question, especially after the growth of AI. So it's obviously, do you agree AI can't replace humans? What is the advice to use AI so that he doesn't take away my job in the future?
You see, I'll tell you what AI will. What my perspective again, I'm not talking that that's the real thing, but my perspective is AI will not replace humans. Right? AI is here to make life easier. If you know AI, you're gonna survive. I would rather say if you know AI, you're gonna survive. If you don't know AI, trust me, you're nowhere. People would not want to hire you if you don't know AI. Right? And it's not like you want to do some deep learning of AI. No, no. I'm talking about how you utilize platform, basic chat GPT. Right? How you utilize chat GPT to enhance your content. Correct. Of course, the messaging, the kind of idea, the concept has to be yours, but the content which goes on to it, you can always use an AI's help, right? You're just making it easier. People might come in and criticize you, and saying that, oh, what is all this, you guys don't have your own thinking and things like that. Tell them, hey, I'm thinking smart, right? I'm just utilizing AI to make content better or make things faster. A lot of them are when you travel to a country, right, you want to kind of make your itinerary. Instead of searching all these sites, put it on the AI platform. It gives you everything, right? It also depends on how you feed your commands, right? Because
Right.
AI at the end of the day is something which is built by human. It's not very very intelligent, right? It won't know what to give unless until you feed the right things to them. So I would say a human who knows how to use a AI properly will survive. And AI is something which is here to stay. It's not like a bubble. It's not like one. It's like an internet. Internet came and it's staying forever, right? AI is here. AI is gonna stay forever. It's not like something which has just come for a while, like your Meta, right? Meta came. People were excited about Meta. The very first wedding on Meta also happened. It was a Tamilian wedding. It happened on Meta, metaverse, I meant. And where is it now? Nowhere, right? So I mean, I think people will, I think Facebook would still probably improve something and come back again, but it just came and went. But AI is going to be here
Right.
for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with it because it's making, along with taking jobs. Obviously, we've seen that people are saying that AI is taking away jobs. We are seeing that it's making a lot of people's jobs easier as well to do and automate a few tasks to get
Yeah,
those answers that you couldn't get online, searching on Quora, Reddit, stuff like that.
correct.
So we have a really good question from Sachin that I just noticed. So he is asking, sir, according to you, what are the key points or qualities that can be seen in a good marketer? So obviously, you being a seasoned marketer, you would know the best about this.
Wonderful question. See, what I would say is, you got to understand what marketing are you doing, or for who, or for what company, or for which product you're doing marketing, right? It can be a B2B marketing, it can be a B2C marketing, and things like that. So what I would suggest, first understand what kind of marketing you're doing. If you're in a B2B company, or if you own a B2B company and you want to do marketing, process yourself to be in a B2B marketing, right? B2C marketing strategies may or may not work for a B2B. So that's one thing. Second thing, always be relevant. Stay in the era. Like, see what's happening around, right? What's happening, what's working out, what's something that people would love. I'll give you a basic example. When I used to put up a booth in India, we used to give these popsicles, right? It had nothing to do with AI. It was just to attract people, and we did it during summer, right? And people came and they love to kind of have, and it was success. Like every time I've done, it's success, right? Then I did an event in Saudi, right? And I kind of did the same format. I wanted to do popsicles, flop, right? So I tried to understand, why is it flop? It's a very hot country over there. Why would people not do it? So then someone very interestingly told me, a lot of people in Middle East, sorry, in Saudi, especially the men, they wear the white soap, the
Yeah,
dress white,
yeah,
right? And they, when they go out to eat or something, they are very, very careful of what they eat and things. So you have to understand where you're doing whatever marketing you're doing. That's one thing. I would also say, keep open to different strategies, right? Because you will not know unless and until you do it, right? You can probably do just digital marketing and kind of get everything you want, but in few cases that may not work. You will have to do a bit of field marketing, right? Some places without digital marketing, field marketing is waste. How much will you do field marketing, right? You definitely need that bigger outreach. So try to understand what digital marketing is, what you don't have to be an expert at everything, but try to understand everything. And that's very important. It shouldn't be like a blonde moment, or a dumb scenario for you, and when someone comes and asks what this is. So just pick up few things. You don't have to be an expert. and don't worry, you'll be great.
Just one last question that we have from Lavina.
Mhm.
She's asking you, sir, should there be more focus on performance marketing approach or F2F campaigns? Asking as my salesperson is always cripping that I'm not getting the real leads. Please suggest.
Wonderful. See, I'll tell you what, there is always going to be a war between sales and marketing,
That's
right?
correct.
They will always, and it's not bad. I would say it's there everywhere, right? It's there everywhere. It's not like they have some really personal thing against you. No, there is always a war between sales and marketing, because see, for us, for marketeers, they have a certain leads to get to sales, right?
Correct.
And when a salesperson probably talks to the marketeer, sorry, to the lead, and maybe understands if there is a proper use case or not, right? If there is no proper use case, the salesperson will come and tell you, hey, you know what, this person is not a right fit to me, right? Try to get me someone else. So you will not know unless and until you kind of do your research. Like maybe let's say, um I'll give you a classic example. Okay. Now for us, when we are selling AI, we always focus on a CIO, right? So a chief information officer, right? A CIO is someone who's very, very responsible to install an AI in his company, right? So our CIO, we think, is the relevant person to go after. And he or she is a relevant person. But there are some times where I've gone to a certain CIO and I've understand that the CIO is not actually, probably doesn't have a proper use case in probably his or her scenario or something like that. And then he suggested kind of go to a, probably a lower level person, he might have something. So when we went to that person, the lower person, that's where we found a proper use case, right? So sometimes you think that that persona is the right persona, but maybe they don't turn out to be. Maybe the persona is right, they are the decision makers, but maybe they are afraid to make decision, one, or maybe they don't have a use case at the moment so that they buy your product. So all these things will come. I would say just keep on doing what you're doing. Try to understand, like, as in when you keep going along your journey, you will understand who is who's gonna actually be the real lead, or an actual lead to do. And sometimes it also happens, even if you get a real lead, maybe the other side they come and tell it's not a real lead. So these things will be there. We'll just have to tackle our way through it. I
One
hope
last,
I've answered that,
yeah,
Lavina.
yeah. I think this was a very complex question, but you answered it really beautifully for Lavina. I think she's gonna agree with whatever you just said. We have one last question from Deepshika, and
Mhm.
it's in an era of short attention spans. How do we keep audience hooked on? I think it's for the entire audience, just not only for the young ones.
Hmm. Again, you have to understand who your target audience is. Correct. If you know, if it is a Buddha Buddhi crowd, you can't put like a kids wala thing to attract them, right? If it's a kid crowd, of if it's a Gen Z, imagine if it's a Gen Z, you can't put like a millennial wala ad or something to attract them, right? If you know I'm not sure if these things are still running now. There's something called Vines, Vines,
Yeah, that
right?
was really
Yeah, so
famous at one point.
correct. So that is something that was only for a shorter duration, right? It was a video for a very shorter duration, and the only those ones clicked, which actually attracted people. Like for example, let's say Logan Paul, right? Logan Paul. I'm sure you guys know a lot about Logan Paul and things. So Logan Paul and Jake Paul. So they started doing these vines, right? And what they did was they started doing these vines with their friends, right? They're millennials, correct?
Correct.
Like I'm a millennial, and for us, we love chilling with friends. It's always been a dream where we have a house where all the friends are in one house, and we stay and have fun. So they understood that concept, and all their wines were around that, right? That's why they became so popular, and they are leveraging that popularity to go heights. Like Logan Paul has started his brand Prime, Jake Paul is doing stuff in boxing and things like that. So I would say, try to understand who your audience is, and then you kind of create a content for that span. Maybe if it's a romantic video, right? Try to understand, okay, fine, okay, these are the kind of people. Maybe there are very few romantic crowd who are there, so that's your focus. So your first 15 seconds has to be something romantic, right? Someone loves drama, right? Try put something dramatic, correct? So that's something that I would say.
And I think you gave a really good example, especially for wine. That was a really great platform, especially before TikTok and all started.
Yeah.
That's what created, I think that's what laid the platform for TikTok to run on.
Correct. Also, like memes, like these days when memes are when memes are out there, not everyone can relate to all the memes, right? You have to make sure that the memes are relevant to people. Memes are also one form of marketing strategy, I must say. It's
Absolutely.
not just criticism; it's a form of strategy to kind of make things popular, right? A lot of people have become popular through memes, and that's a very good way to kind of promote a few things in a very unconventional way.
We see Swiggy and
Yeah,
Blinkit doing these kind of things right now, especially
yeah,
on a very regular basis.
yeah, definitely.
It's mainly to connect with the young audience that we have. They're more relevant with them.
You're right.
Because it's mostly the young audience ordering at 3 a.m. at night, stuff like that. So, yeah, one repeat question that I'm getting from our attendees is one course, one book that you would suggest to our young marketers that they should read, season level that you've reached.
See, I would say it's a very vague question. Like I would say it depends. Like if you're talking about something to do with marketing, then there are a couple of books. Like for example, there is one book which is Getting to Yes, right? How do you get to yes? Correct. So Getting to Yes is the name of the book. But if you're talking about how you want to improve things and kind of relate it to your marketing, then there are many books like How to Win and How to Win Friends and Influence People. This is something which is for your personal thing, but you can always utilize it for your marketing strategies, right? You have Atomic Habits, which is again something which is for your personal, but always can relate to your marketing. So it differs, but if you're asking me exclusively something for marketing, I would say go for Getting to Yes. It's a very good book. And I think the other question was course.
Yeah,
See, course is, it depends again, right? Depends on what you really want to do, right?
right.
If you want to do a digital marketing course, go for it, right? But what I would suggest is, maybe I'm wrong or maybe I'm right. At the moment, there's a lot of trend around ABM, right? Account based marketing. So this is something like I said, people these days, they don't want junk. When you do a mass event, there are a lot of leads that are coming in. But whereas for an account based marketing, you've selected these accounts. Your team has done a thorough research on a certain number of accounts. They know that these are the only accounts that we want to go after, or these are the prospects that we want to go after. They have maybe a useful use case for us. So you filtered that down, and then you filter it further in terms of what persona. So that's account based marketing. I would say go for that. Do a course in account based marketing. It's definitely gonna help you out. Yeah, I'm sorry, only these were the two things you asked me, the
Yeah,
book and the course.
right.
Yeah.
So, you were speaking about ABM, account-based marketing. Somebody asked a similar question. How can we cover the white space in ABM?
Hmm. See, account based marketing is something which is still in explorations. Like there is no book written thing like, hey, this is only account based marketing. There are different ways people do it, right? For example, I'll tell you what I do in account based marketing. I first try to understand which accounts are there, kind of jot them down, break it down, and try to understand who's and who, what personas. And then you kind of make a map, or rather a timeline, and understand where you're doing touch points, right? For an account based marketing, you can't just engage them once, you have to engage them multiple times, right? You probably send them an email, maybe send them a newsletter, invite them for some event, a round table or something, then maybe take them for a dinner, or kind of all of that. Maybe give them like a lounge seating in an IPL, maybe send them gifts for Diwali, or so these are the touch points that you're doing, and you have to keep nurturing them,
Yeah.
right? You kind of select the only accounts that you want to do, you select the person, and you do everything and anything around that person or around that account, right? So that's one way of doing it. That's what I do it. So yeah.
So it's like laying a brick and then creating an entire building on it.
Right.
That was all of the questions that we had from our audience side, and I am 100% sure, because especially the response that we got from the audience, they were very hooked on the webinar, especially with the examples that you gave us, Adeeb.
Wonderful.
So they
Yeah.
found it really interesting. We saw comments like, "I'm not yawning, nah, no sleeping." So marketers were really hooked on this, and
Wonderful,
we
wonderful.
thank you
I mean, see, I love
very.
talking to people. I'm open to, if people want to reach out to me for anything. I'd love to mentor them. I don't know how do I. Oh yeah, I'm gonna put down my LinkedIn here. If at all you guys want to reach out to me, because see, I'll tell you what. This was a 1 hour session, right? I think this is good enough, right? Something more than an hour would have probably been like a gyan. People wouldn't have kind of got things inside. So probably some other time, if at all you guys need any guidance or something, always here to support.
So for all our participants, Adeem has dropped his LinkedIn in the chat. So feel free to contact him if you need any mentorship on any marketing related things. So obviously he's more than happy to answer any of your queries. Thank you so much, Adeeb. We loved the examples that you gave and the insights that you gave. And it's lovely to get a fresher perspective, because the young marketers loved to learn from you. And more than love, they didn't think it was Gyan. So that was
Wonderful.
very good perspective.
Yeah.
We saw it there. And I thank all of our participants for joining in. And we had about 60 plus attendees at our peak. And we're really happy for the turnout as well. And we loved the session, especially Adeeb. Thank you for making it so insightful and interesting.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Me
Thank you
personally,
for
I also
giving.
gained a few things. I didn't know about the Santa Claus thing as well.
Every day is a learning. Like I myself learn a lot of things, and it's always good to, yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you all. Take care. All the best.
Thank you.